Welcome, everyone, to A Call for Judgment. Taylor Swift is at it again. Shouldn't surprise anybody. Taylor Swift is one of the main witches in the music industry who, of course, plays that cookie cutter, oh, sweet, nice girl, where nobody would think she's an actual witch, even though, well, if you've seen some of my previous videos, not only have I showed the occult symbolism that she uses time and time again. Not only do we obviously see her pushing all of the Me Too, love, tolerance, LG, all that stuff that she pushes or he pushes, but also actually doing rituals on stage, witchcraft rituals where we're supposed to believe are art. You might remember this clip from a month or two ago that I covered where she literally was they're all dressed in cloaks, doing a ritual in a magic circle, and of course, protection circle, as the witches call it. And of course, people in the crowd are screaming to summon demons, but there's nothing suspicious here.
We are signal and meet you after.
Yes! Hey! Hey! Yes! Summon the demons, bitch!
So, of course, and then, Taylor Swift have songs like Out of the Woods, Are We Out of the Woods Yet? Referring to the witches coming out of the woods into the spotlight, into the mainstream, normalizing witchcraft, which is what we're seeing going on now. I've been talking about it for quite some time now, and we're really seeing the witches and the Satanists grow a pair. Because they're seemingly out literally just admitting now that they're witches and nobody seems to care. So Taylor Swift has a new song called Karma. And of course, most people out there aren't familiar with what karma actually is from, the rule of three, which is in Wicca. Witches use the rule of three, which is pretty much like the whole, the energy you put out into the world, you get back into the world. It's defined as, it states, that whatever energy a person puts out in the world, be it positive or negative, will be returned to that person 3 times. Some describe to a variant of this law, which return is not necessarily threefold, but the rule of three is sometimes described as karma by Wiccans. So, of course, we all hear about karma. People are like, karma, karma. Everything that's normalized, everything you hear in the mainstream, this all is rooted not just in paganism, it's rooted in witchcraft, it's rooted in the occult. So, of course, Taylor has a song called Karma, and let's start because the symbolism is everywhere. We start right off the bat where we see the monarch butterfly. Of course we do, because Taylor Swift is another one of these MK Ultra mind-controlled zombies whose whole purpose is to socially engineer the young girls out there and to groom them with the perspectives on the world and how they're supposed to view things and how they're supposed to act and how they're supposed to behave. That's what the celebrity's job is. It is to groom. People don't realize that when they hear the term groom, they think of something else. Well, grooming is going on all over the place. Some might know it as the word influencing or social or celebrity influencers. It's no different. They're mind-controlling people, and that's what Taylor Swift's job is. And, of course, you see the monarch butterfly all over the place. This isn't the first time Taylor Swift always references MK Ultra with bird cages, with butterflies, butterflies, butterflies. You could look up pretty much any celebrity, female celebrity, and you will find that they're either tattooed with a butterfly or they have, covers of albums or albums named after butterflies from Miley Cyrus all the way down, Katy Perry, okay? It's not because they all just love the look of a butterfly. They all think it's beautiful. Remember, they're supposed to be artists, so you'd think they'd say, hey, didn't so-and-so use a butterfly, Britney Spears, over and over and over? Maybe I should do something else. No, it's because they show you and tell you exactly who they are and who they work for. Their handlers put these symbols in a lot of their videos deliberately so they can communicate with one another. And of course, the people out there watching it don't have a clue. So we have the monarch butterfly right off the bat. Then, of course, what a surprise, right? We have Taylor Swift and we have all these demons in hell, right? And they're all wearing cloaks, of course, because this is what they actually wear when they're not on magazine covers. This is what they wear pretty much all the time when they're performing their rituals. And why wouldn't they have masks on? And why wouldn't Taylor Swift be wearing a goat mask, one that has horns on it, that looks like our friend the Baphomet? Because, of course, this is art, remember? Right? I mean, could it be more obvious? Could it be more in your face? And then in the backdrop, you see lightning. They always reference lightning. I use the joke over and over again because It's just what pops into my head when I talk about it. But apparently these people are storm chasers. They watch Jim Cantor in the Weather Channel all the time. They're always using lightning, from AC/DC to Kiss to Metallica to you name the band. They have lightning, Marilyn Manson, they have lightning either in their logo or lightnings in their music videos. There's always lightning. This is a reference, of course, to scripture in Luke chapter 10, verse 18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So Lucifer is Satan is represented by lightning. And that's why you always see lightning in these videos. It's not because, oh, lightning's so cool. That none of these people ever use a tornado. They never use a tsunami. It's just always lightning. And, it's done on purpose. These people aren't sitting on their patio watching lightning storms all the time because they love lightning. They're not putting it in there because they're obsessed with it. They're putting it in there as reference to Lucifer. And that's why you see monarch butterflies, lightning, all-seeing eyes. It's very common. We see it over and over. Another symbol that's in there is the hourglass. I've covered this before. The hourglass pops up a lot. People don't realize it's a Masonic symbol. You could pretty much go on most Masonic lodges websites where they actually talk about some of the symbols represented in Freemasonry, and the hourglass, the sands of time, is usually always on there. And this is specifically from the Grand Lodge of Ohio. They say, while today the hourglass is not as popular for time telling as clocks, its literal depiction of the past, present, and future have helped it endure the centuries as a popular symbol. It goes on to say, in Masonic lecture, Ohio Freemasons first encountered the hourglass during the lecture of the third degree, where it is explained to be an emblem of human life. Now, again, if you have an hourglass in your home, I'm not saying you're a Freemason. If you like hourglasses, you're not saying you're a Freemason. I'm telling you why you see these things in these music videos. They're randomly splattered throughout. There's no actual concept to what's going on in these videos. There's nothing in there where you'd be like, oh, and she's telling a story about how she's in love and she fell out of love and she found a new man. Oh, right. That's why we see, her dressed with a goat mask. We see hourglasses, which somebody would just see that. They'd be like, cool, Taylor Swift really likes hourglasses. No, this is obviously an occult symbol. It's used in Freemasonry. So the Freemasons first encountered the hourglass during the lecture of the third degree, where it's explained to be an emblem of human life. It represents the continuous passing of time and serves as a reminder that life is finite. Additionally, the two containers of the hourglass are an analogy of their own, that the need to flip the hourglass signifies the cycle between life and death. It also denotes the notion that we must be able to reverse our perceptions, attitudes, and actions at times for us to move forward. So again, and it says the completion of the Master Mason degree is almost certainly not a brother's first experience with the hourglass. So pretty much that right there is what it symbolizes to them, is the completion of the Master Mason degree the hourglass is used in. So it's just another Masonic symbol in the sense of why they're using it and why they're putting it in the music videos. They're not putting it in there because Taylor Swift was like, I'm going to make a music video called Karma. And she was looking around and she was in a library and she was like, look, an hourglass. That'd be really cool if I'm inside the hourglass. No, everything in there is in there for a reason. She's not dressed up as a goat, wearing the goat, in a druid cloak in hell with people dressed up as, demons and Satan, et cetera, because it's just some type of art. They're literally telling you what's going on. So you have that. You also have, which is really important, is you have the staircase with the capstone. Now, there's multiple meanings to this. Obviously, we know the staircase is used in Freemasonry as well. You always will see a picture of a staircase. This has to do with them, as they grow in Freemasonry, rising up in Freemasonry, going through each degree in Freemasonry. The staircase represents that. You see it in concerts. We've seen Madonna do it, even dressed in the Masonic, garb, which she did at the MTV Music Awards. And of course, the capstone is really what this is about. You see the missing capstone, that they're going to represent the capstone. That's where the eye is. If you look at the back of the dollar bill, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer is the capstone on the pyramid. So the pyramid, it's missing that. And as they get to the top, well, what do you expect to have happen? They lasso Saturn. Isn't that a coincidence? I mean, there's no symbolism here, right? They were just like, hey, let's have a giant staircase which goes above the clouds, referencing the Tower of Babel, of course, and going above to godlike, degrees in Masonry, where they believe they learn the knowledge when they get to the 33rd degree, that they are gods amongst us. That's what they're referencing here, even with showing the clouds below the capstone part. But then when they get to the capstone, of course, like I said, if you look, you always see the capstone is where the eyeball is. That's the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. They just suddenly were like, what could we do when we get to the top? She's like, well, I could do jump rope. Maybe we could play Parcheesi. Board game, sit on top and play a board game. How about we lasso a planet? A planet? Okay, well, which planet would you? Saturn. Oh, why Saturn? It's cool, right? It's got rings. Saturn again, over and over and over with Saturn worship. This is Satan worship. It's right in front of our faces. You've seen Saturn all over the place, from Beyonce wearing earrings with Saturn to Adele having Saturn tattooed on her body. I just covered it recently with another musician, but I mean, Saturn is all over the place all the time. It's for a reason. This represents Satan. So, of course, they're telling you pretty much without putting the all-seeing eye on the top of the capstone, by lassoing Saturn. I mean, could it be more obvious? I mean, what do people think when they watch this? What are Taylor Swift fans thinking? They're watching this, they're just like, isn't that cool? Taylor Swift just lassoed Saturn, right? And then nobody notices the constant references to Saturn. Nobody's like, isn't this weird that these celebrities are obsessed with the planet Saturn? Nobody finds that bizarre at all, right? I just covered one of the celebrities from Harry Potter, or one of the actresses from Harry Potter, talking about turning 33 and Saturn and how important Saturn is to her at 33, or him at 33, whatever it is. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious, but when you think about people in today's society, their brain's just on autopilot. They don't see this stuff continually, the repetition, the pattern, and they just think that these people are artists. But they're not, because if they were artists, they'd be doing things that are original or different. They're doing the same thing over and over again. They're using repetition. They're showing you. They're using the actual universal law, which is, the law to show you who they are. They're showing you who they are. They're telling you who they are. Just people don't want to believe it, and people don't see it because they're too dumbed down. I mean, your brain should be able to process repetition of signs and symbols. That's why I've always exposed it. It's an easy way to say, okay, what's going on here? Why does Beyonce have earrings of Saturn? Like, were you when you went through the schooling system, the schooling prison system, I mean, were kids in school, like, were you at lunch after science class and everyone was talking about their favorite planets and everybody was just like, Saturn? And they were like, hey, I'm going to get Saturn tattooed on my butt. Hey, excuse me, darling, are you going to get Saturn earrings this week? Where would you even buy earrings that are Saturn earrings, right? And we see Saturn all the time. We see, Nike uses the ring of Saturn underneath its logo. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And all these signs and symbols continue to be everywhere. So as the video obviously progressed, we saw the Grim Reaper. So we saw these, demonic beings on, and this is obviously showing you good and evil, the path of good and evil, which is duality, as above, so below, which is what they believe. Good and bad, your good deeds outweigh your bad deeds. So this video was just filled with stuff. And again, like I said earlier, a lot of people are so dumbed down about karma. They actually think, I hear Christians and they're like, karma. Well, I'm pretty sure God doesn't believe in karma. Karma is just a thing that they've normalized, which pulls people away from God and makes them think that, if you do something wrong on this earth, it's going to come back to bite you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? What you put out comes back. These are all obviously things that we hear many New Age Christians talk about, right? New Age Christians fall into this stuff. They use the stones and they think that energy stones and crystals are like, that's not witchcraft. We have Christians who go see psychics, even though they're not supposed to. And we have Christians, of course, who do things and believe things like karma, even though they're Christians when they shouldn't. And they don't realize that it's all rooted in paganism. It's all rooted in Wicca. It's rooted in the occult, right? What you put out comes back, right? This is all stuff with energy, with, nothing to do with salvation through Christ, which is the only thing that Christians should be focused on, but they're not, because they get pulled into this stuff with karma. I hear Christians all the time talk about it. So Karma by Taylor Swift, as you saw earlier, of course, she performed her ritual a month or two ago on stage. I've talked about videos where she's coming out of the woods. She's obviously always using mind control symbolism to show you that she is a mind control slave. She's used the birdcage. She's used the monarch butterfly. Again, you saw the butterflies in this. You saw the lightning bolts, of course, because they're all just huge fans of thunder and lightning. And the goat mask, right? No big deal. It's just a goat mask. You have the hourglass, which again is a very important symbol in Freemasonry. You have the capstone, which is probably the biggest thing, right? The capstone, the missing capstone. And we've seen this a lot. Justin Timberlake has done this in videos I've covered before where the capstone is incomplete and something that goes up on the capstone. And it couldn't be more unbelievable that she goes to the top of the staircase, right on the capstone, and she lassos the planet Saturn. I mean, could you make it up? Probably not. It's so in our faces and so obvious. So Taylor Swift, once again, as most of these obnoxious celebrities do, they continually let us know that they're Satanists. They continue to show us these things over and over. You could actually go through all of Taylor Swift's videos, and it's always the same symbols. There's always butterflies. There's always lightning. She's getting more bold, or he's getting more bold. actually dressing in druid cloaks and actually being in hell and having the, Satan masks on and the Baphomet and all this stuff. And people still don't see it because they're like, well, Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift's out there and has makeup on, doesn't dress goth and acts really nice and polite. So parents just let their kids watch Taylor Swift because they're like, well, it's better than Nicki Minaj or it's better than any of these people who are walking around butt naked on TV. So then the parents go, oh, Taylor Swift or Katy Perry. Oh, they're nice, clean-cut girls. They're doing just as much occult stuff as someone like Nicki Minaj would be doing or anyone else out there. It's so obvious at this point that it's scary that people don't see it. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless you and your families.